For this tutorial, we're going to try to create the surface of the BIG Serpentine Pavilion in Grasshopper. And then we'll see some options. So in the Rhino window, let's insert image. So if we type picture into the command line, and then select a small JPEG image, left click, and then left click to drop it in. Move it into position. And then if we double click on the view to come out of it, and then we can move into Grasshopper. So we need to construct a series of points. So we type construct points. And as I said, it's a series of points. So we need series. And we want the grid in two directions, the Y, Z direction. So you can see the default is coming up. We want a pretty decent size grid. I'm going to do a 1 to 50 slider. Integers, so 1 dot 50. And then I'm going to need 4 of those. 2 for the Z and 2 for Y. So I'm going to start to attach those. So this slider is the double click Y cell size. This is Y number of cells. This is the cell size. This is the number of cells. Okay. And then I would like my Y to be 20. And I'm going to make my Z 20 as well. And then I'm going to make it 25 by 16. So if you see this, it's 25 and 16. So it creates 16 points on the diagonal of YZ, and then left over 25 minus 16, there's 9 points just left over. You want a full grid, so you have to graft either Y or Z. It's up to you. We're going to graft the Z to create the entire grid. Then I want to move these points in the shape of this, what looks like a sine wave. So I need to move, number one, the geometry. And since I want a specific wave, we can use the graph mapper to help us create that wave. And if I right click on graph types and I select sine wave, and then if I pull on this control point in the corner, I can get it to look just like this sine wave over here. So the geometry that I want to move are these points, and the motion is in the x direction. So I need an x vector, because motion is in the x. And then I need, right now it's 0 to 1, 0 to 1. So I want it to be larger than that. So I need to multiply this, because if it only moves it by 1, you won't see the motion, well, less than 1, because it's 0 to 1. You won't see it, so at least I want to move it. Let's put 200 integers on the slider. I want to move it at least probably 100. So I'm gonna make it that way. And then I need to attach it to a range because this is the range of motion. So you need to give it a range of motion. Because that's the range. So if you just do that, you'll start to see it move, but it doesn't know the how many steps right now, right? So the number of steps, it says 10. If you hover here, it says 11. So you have to enter one less than what comes out. So if I put it this way, the number will be a little bit extra. If I can look right now, there's one more. So if I wanted to match this, I need to take it down by 1 because the output will be 26. So expression should be x minus 1, I think. That way I get exactly 25 as it looks there. And then I can go ahead and hide the original grid matrix there. So as you can see, I've multiplied. If I don't, you can sort of barely see it move because this is 0 to 1. It's sort of on that scale. If you want to then create another double curve, which it has on this surface, so it's not only curving this way, it's also curving that way, you need to use another graph mapper and arrange. So this time on the Z, we're going to put it on the Z here. So I'm pulling from this one and overriding that. So this one was on the Y, this is on the Z. This time I'm going to change the graph. It's not a sine, it's a Bezier. So if I move this, and then I pull these points to make it this particular shape. And then I'm going to need another multiplication bar. So this one comes into here, the result of that, and I'm multiplying this one by this, and then the result is going into this factor. But because it's going in the Y and Z, I need to one more time graph it. So if I do that, it will then create the motion and the surface that I want. So I need to play with this a little bit, but it looks pretty good. So I'm going to bow it out, maybe 180. And then for the other surface, very simply, I'm going to just copy and paste these. I will group this and call this the so if I right click on this, I can call this the east wall. Call this one the west wall. So there's two now of these, and then I want to make this west wall slightly different shape. So let me move these control points. And then I also want to add negative. So negative here. So that it will create the opposite wall now.